Disclaimer: I am Zayd Haji, a student of Finance Research, Sharia Law and Islamic Sciences. I am not an Islamic finance scholar, economist, legal authority, or government advisor. The ideas and perspectives shared in this podcast are presented solely for educational and academic exploration. They draw on publicly available information and are intended to spark reflection, informed discussion, and critical thinking. This is not an attempt to criticize or target any government institution or policy, nor should any part of this discussion be taken as financial advice, legal guidance, Sharia compliance rulings, or policy recommendations. What you hear is simply my personal student-driven journey of inquiry, a conversation about concepts, not a directive for action. Much of the information discussed in this episode is drawn from the public video, Rahul Gandhi versus Election Commission on Vote Chori. What is the Election Commission trying to hide? By Akash Banerjee, the Deshbhakt YouTube channel. I am not accountable for any specific claims made. My role here is to explore the issue as presented in publicly available material for educational discussion. Welcome to the IFR, Islamic Finance Research Podcast, part of Zayed's Rules, Ethical Finance and the Halal Economy. I'm your host, Zayd Haji. Today's episode steps into a scandal shaking the foundations of Indian democracy, allegations of massive vote theft. From Mahadevapura's 1 lakh suspicious voters to ghost names appearing in multiple constituencies, from entire communities erased from rolls to the bizarre case of a 124-year-old voter, the pattern is chilling. Even Rahul Gandhi calls it the largest organized voter fraud in independent India, a theft not just of ballots but of the people's trust. In recent days, the nation has been shaken by allegations of massive vote theft. The Mahadevapura investigation revealed over 1 lakh suspicious voters added to a constituency, almost the same number by which BJP's votes increased there. The victory margin matched the number of these added voters. Allegations are that the Election Commission not only allowed this, but may have acted to benefit the ruling party. Across the country, voter lists show bizarre and alarming irregularities. The same person appearing multiple times, voters listed at non-existent addresses, and one woman, Minta Devi, recorded as 124 years old, making her the oldest person in the world on paper. Entire communities' names were deleted in strategic constituencies. In Bihar, lakhs of voters were quietly removed. In Uttar Pradesh, fake or duplicate entries abound. In West Bengal, officials were suspended for roll manipulation. Rahul Gandhi has called this the largest organized voter fraud in independent India, accusing the BJP of deliberately targeting communities seen as less likely to vote for them. He says this is not just an election issue but an attack on the soul of democracy itself. Digital voter lists that could be easily verified were replaced with non-searchable formats, obstructing investigation. When data was demanded, the Election Commission refused, citing no legal obligation to share it. In many cases, the number of voters deleted exceeded the victory margin in key seats, enough to have changed results. This is not an isolated event. From 2024 to 2025, similar manipulations keep surfacing, yet there is no accountability. Opposition leaders were arrested for protesting, courts have not enforced transparency, and rule changes have tightened political control over the Election Commission. The core allegation is that the electoral system has been captured and is now being weaponized to engineer results while denying citizens their constitutional right to a fair vote. You have heard this story from the news, from the streets, from Rahul Gandhi's speeches, from every corner of the political battlefield. You know the facts, the numbers, the names, even the absurdity of a 124-year-old ghost voter. But I am not here to simply repeat them. I am here to show you the cure. I am here to take you beyond outrage and into awakening, to introduce you to a system of governance where such theft, such fraud, such betrayal of trust becomes nearly impossible. A system rooted in principles older than any constitution, yet sharper than any modern law, the principles of Sharia. If this nation were run under the laws of amanah, trust, Hizba, accountability, adl, justice. Al-Bayina, clear proof. The removal of Garar, deception. Shura, consultation. La darar wa. Dirar, no harm, no reciprocating harm. And the destruction of Yetikar, hoarding of power. Then the shadows in which these scams breed would be flooded with light. Now, let me take you inside that vision. Close your eyes and listen carefully. The story you think you know about stolen votes is not just a political scandal. It is not just about numbers in a ledger, names on a list, or faces erased from the ballot. No, this is a deeper wound, a cut in the artery of justice itself. A crime not only against the people, but against the very trust, the amana that binds a ruler to the ruled. In the last few days, the whispers have turned into a roar. We have seen numbers manipulated, voter rolls twisted, entire constituencies swollen with ghosts, fake identities injected like a virus into the veins of democracy. You think it's just about one party winning, another losing. But I am telling you, no, I am showing you, this is about the destruction of amana, the sacred trust dust that leaders are commanded to hold in Sharia, a trust they must protect as they would their own soul. When amana is broken, the state rots from the inside out. And so I ask you, what happens when the guardians of the vote, the election commission, themselves betray this trust? When those who hold the scales of justice use them to weigh gold instead of truth, they are not umpires, they are merchants in the market of etikar, hoarders of power, hoarders of influence, keeping it locked away while the people starve for fairness. But hear me, I am not just speaking to your ears. I am speaking to your mind. Right now, your thoughts are shifting. Right now, you are beginning to see that the government is not simply failing. They are engineering the collapse of Hizba, the moral oversight that ensures leaders act with accountability. The election commission was meant to be Hizba, an overseer standing above politics, ensuring every voice is heard. Instead, they have become the mask that hides the thieves' faces. Think about the numbers you've heard. 1 lakh votes in Mahadevapura conjured out of thin air. Voters existing in 6 places at once. A woman declared 124 years old, used as a symbol, but really just another brick in the wall of fraud. Entire communities Yadav, Muslims, Dalits, strategically erased like chalk wiped from a blackboard. And you are told it's nothing, move on. But your mind refuses to move on. Because adult justice lives inside you and it is restless now. Look deeper. When names vanish from lists, when evidence is hidden behind paper walls instead of open digital files, when data is shredded before it can be examined, that is the destruction of al-bayina, clear proof. In Islam, no judgment can be made without al-bayina. Yet here the state twists the law so that proof cannot be gathered. They fear al-bayina because once proof is in the hands of the people, the illusion collapses. And then comes garar, deception through uncertainty. They thrive in gara, they keep you guessing. Maybe it's just a clerical error, maybe it's nothing. They know uncertainty is a cage, and as long as you cannot be sure, you will not act. But Sharia commands the removal of garar, because truth is the only soil in which justice grows. Do you see it now, the sickness? When they strip away shura, the obligation to consult the people, they strip away the heartbeat of governance. Decisions are made in closed rooms, votes counted in darkness, lists purged without discussion. The rulers forget that shura is not optional, it is a divine command. Without it, the people are not participants. They are spectators in a play written to deceive them. And the wound deepens further with la dararwa. La dirar, the principle that no harm should be inflicted nor reciprocated. Yet here harm is deliberate, harm is calculated. Removing a person's vote is the theft of their dignity, their future, their voice. It is the harm that ripples through generations, for when one election is stolen, the chain of governance for years to come is poisoned. Finally, return to etikar, not only in the marketplace of goods, but in the marketplace of power. Hoarding seats, hoarding access, hoarding the right to speak, to be heard, to decide. The rulers cling to this power, not because they are strong, but because they are weak, because they know that in a fair system, they would be swept away like dust in the wind. Now, breathe, Inhale the truth, exhale the lies. You are beginning to feel it, the slow burn of awareness, the rising heat of demand. You are no longer a spectator. You have been hypnotized, yes, but not into sleep, into awakening. You see that to repair this system, Amana must be restored, Hisba enforced, Adal made unshakable, Al-Bayina brought into the light, Gara destroyed, Shura revived, La Darwa. La Dirar, no harm, no reciprocating harm, honored, and Yetikar, shattered. And here is the final truth I want to plant deep inside your mind. You will not just accept these principles, you will demand them. You will see them as oxygen. Without them, you cannot breathe. Without them, the system is not a system at all, but a prison. And once enough minds awaken, the delusion doors will fall. With that said, I leave you with a reminder: justice is not a gift handed down by the powerful. It is a fire we must tend, guard, and pass on in our votes, in our money, in our every choice. Amana, the sacred trust, does not begin in the halls of power. It begins inside you. If you guard it, the world changes. If you betray it, the world rots. I am your host, Zayd Haji, a student of finance, an author, and the founder of 3 mission-driven platforms: IFR Islamic Finance Research, ISR Islamic Studies Research, and IGC Islamic Guidance Council. These were not born for image, for brand, or for applause. They were forged from necessity to reconnect divine guidance with broken systems, to restore Amana in leadership, to rebuild finance upon the unshakable pillars of ethics and faith. Through my books, Investing in Value Stocks, Investing in the Stock Market, Investing in Mutual Funds, and Business and Money for Life, I have sought to turn financial knowledge into a weapon you can wield. And through works like Unlock Your Mind and Self-Respect and Self-Esteem, I have tried to light the inner fire, because without emotional clarity and spiritual strength, even the richest wallet is an empty soul. This has been Zayed's Rules Ethical Finance for a global audience, part of the IFR Islamic Finance Research Podcast, a journey into how money, values, and meaning can walk side by side in a corrupt world. Join our growing community on WhatsApp and Instagram. Explore more at zayedhaji.com and zayedalhaji.com, and find my full works in ebook and paperback on Google Play Books, Amazon Kindle, Amazon India, and Flipkart. Until next time, guard your vote, sharpen your truth, and let every step you take echo with defiance against deception. For when enough Indians awaken, the chains on our democracy will not just loosen, they will shatter. And those who stole our voice will learn that the people they tried to silence have the loudest roar.